Good afternoon. I hope you're all having a great time at the Hasbro International G.I. Joe Collectors Convention. Are you having fun yet? All right. Well, we hope we have more fun ahead. I think we do. At least that's planned. So let's kick this off. I'll let everybody introduce themselves. I'm Brian Savage. I run the G.I. Joe Collectors Club, as well as Fun Publications, the Transformers Collectors Club, BotCon, and so on and so forth. And also I collect pinball machines, so if anyone will need to get rid of those, let me know, okay? Just a shameless plug there.
Hello, I'm David Lane. I'm the content manager and editor for the G.I. Joe Collectors Club magazine. I'm also the Real American Hero Collection specialist. I work on all the projects that involve convention sets or our figure subscription service.
Lanny Latham. I'm the Director of Creative Services. I handle most things visual at some point. It comes through my hands. Either somebody else works on it, eventually I'll look at it. I do figure decos and lay out the magazine and put all the content together that comes from these guys. And what else? Just about anything else.
Anything graphic or has a color to it or something that goes through our office, goes through Lanny's hands or computer or something.
So I'm not like the brain, I'm more like the funnel, or maybe lower intestine. I don't know.
He's the choke point on everything.
And I'm Pete Sinclair. I'm marketing manager for Fun Publications. I do all of our marketing, PR, some of our advertising, all the managing editorial work on all of your print on both Transformers and G.I. Joe. So that's it.
So should I push the button?
Push the button.
Okay.
Do it.
Woo! Yay! Okay, this is where you are now.
Yay! This is another logo of redundant logos. All right, I'll talk slower for you then. Is that better? Okay.
If you get busy, just raise your hand. This was our convention set this year. Yay! Come on, all of them. Those are just mock-ups. Those are not the real things. Those were just the Photoshop mock-ups that went to, that were used to do the decos for China. And unfortunately, these were the ones that you saw on the front end because we didn't have finals until late. This is just this is a close-up. I don't know if you look closely at your box. Does anybody think that's an actual embroidered patch? Probably not.
Lanny hand embroidered every box that you have.
I got out my macrame and my needlepoint set, and no, this is just built in Photoshop to emulate an embroidered patch, and that's the graphic that ended up on the shirt. And I thought it was kind of cool, so I wanted to put it up there and talk about it. Okay. Usually when we do these, we talk about how decos are done, and this is the kind of thing that goes to China. We Frankenstein a figure together. In this case, this had a new head, but when we did this, we didn't even have the new head. We had 3D turnaround from the sculptor and used that instead. The whole thing put together in Photoshop and then re-edited digitally to approximate what the toy is going to look like, and then use a Pantone book that has about 8,000 colors in it and color match what you want the colors to look like, and then indicate what those colors should be in the final, and then that goes off to China so they can do the deco mask. And that's what he finally looked like. If you skip back, he looked like that. And so as is obvious, the actual toy looks better than the non-actual toy. So,
and one of the things you've heard us talk about is different tools. A tool could be an actual item that the figure is cast in. It also is the spray mask. That's a line tool. And so, for example, to do things that are circular or go around the circumference of something, it's more than one tool. I think it's like something like 8, is that right? Or something like that. So these spray offs that go around an item are much more complicated than things that are just flat on one side, or a tampo print, which is like a logo. They just hit it with something that tamps it, ergo called a tampo print, and just on a flat surface.
This is the deco sheet for iron anvil. I was really happy with the way this one turned out. It was fun too because the O-ring iron anvil we did back, what year was that?
300 years ago.
2005, that was a fun deco to do, and so it was really fun for me to revisit that on a modern style figure. And it's the same situation as the other. We do this on every figure. Sometimes we do front image, sometimes they need a back image because there's more detail back there that they need to see that's not obvious. And there's how he finally turned out. I thought he was pretty spiffy. I liked him a lot. And you can see reality is better than Photoshop. And it's a good thing, or none of us would go outside.
Some of them don't go outside.
Well, you have to get like cereal and stuff. These are digital head turnarounds. These are what happens in the computer from the sculptor rather than working old style where you actually take a piece of wax and carve the thing with a tool. This is all done through software, and they'll send us all these different views because once they actually generate the sculpt, they can rotate it and turn it. And generally, while we're doing these mock-ups, I'll ask for different angles like that so I can put that on the Frankenstein figure to do the final mock-up.
Now, what's fun for us on the digital head sculpts is that should we ever decide we wanted to make a 12-inch version of the same head, it's already there. You just have to change the bottom part with the neck post, and they can do that in the factory. So you can scale this stuff up or down depending on what direction you need to go with a particular figure.
And you can see you just get a great result like that. And we have a lot of side people. It's not Carl Weathers, and it's not Billy D. Williams. It's just one of those guys with a mustache. This is a Stinger deco sheet. This is done the same way. We take the base toy, photograph it, use Photoshop to make a mock-up, indicate where the decos are going to go. And I tell you, the factory does a great job because I indicate, say, for example, where the tiger stripe tampos are going to be. The sample comes and they hit it like it's almost identical in the right place and the right shape. Now, with something like the open mouth, that actually has to be created as an art file in Illustrator and sent to them so they can create the tampo print for that. That's a little more involved than just the camo. Same thing here, and you have to indicate that it's pretty obvious that it gradates from white to brown and then into yellow. And this was our free attendee package holder. If you bought a box set, you got this free. This is our 12-inch set that we did this year, which was a throwback to the 1969 12-inch line, which was between the military line and before Adventure Team kicked in. I think there was like a period where they weren't exactly sure what they were going to do. And before flocking and Kung Fu Grip and all that, G.I. Joe was this for a little while.
And I think when we talked about it a little bit, this is the first reproduction convention set piece we've ever done. And when we started with the military stuff early on, we were trying to do actual military units and replicate in scale exactly what they had. And then we did a long series of Adventure Team. What we considered was taking the vintage concepts and amping them up. If you look back at some of the Adventure Team sets, there's more crazy items that go into those things than ever came, in something from the 70s.
So what we did with this is did a very straight up reproduction on the figure in the long box, and then the uniform set that also came was from the Fantastic Freefall, and that's a pretty much straight up reproduction. But we tried something different because sometimes people say, I like repro stuff, other people say, don't make repro stuff, make something new. So in this case, we took the opportunity to do a little bit of both. You get a really nice reproduction set, but with a black stealth version of the uniform set, which is something nobody really has before. And all black geared up pilots are really cool. So we also varied up the deco on the helmets. The traditional Fantastic Freefall had just the G.I. Joe imprint. Added a little more deco to the black version, which never really existed, so we dressed it up a bit. And then part of the free 12-inch attendee set was a Adventure Team yellow helmet with an Adventure Team yellow parachute back.
So how many people are familiar with the Adventures of series or understand what that was? Yeah, see, that's what I thought, not a whole lot. Okay, so the Adventures of was kind of the bridge between the military in the 60s and Adventure Team in the 70s. So it goes Adventures of, then the Man of Action kind of was running his own solo gig, and then it came into the Adventure Team, which spawned the whole Adventure Team, series at that point. We got Kung Fu Grip and those type of things. So this was, again, as Laney was saying, they really weren't sure where they were going. Some of the stuff in those what are referred to as red top boxes, that only happened in '69. There's not very many sets of them, but what they pretty much did was, same thing they did later on in Adventure Team, was they took the tools they already had and made a variation or the same kind of thing they already made, but called it something else and you gave it new art. So if you want to think about it, these were probably the first repaints, or reimaginings that they did in the G.I. Joe line.
Okay. Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about our club figure here. This isn't a big reveal. This is just, you can go ahead. There's nothing dramatic here, I don't think. This was our membership figure for this year, the Arctic Dr. Mindbender. We had them here on cards. We didn't have the loose, the mail-out ones yet. Those will be coming to us sometime after the show, and so you guys will be getting that in the mail if you're a club member.
They're supposed to be on a ship now, headed this way.
So that featured an all-new head. The collar's all new, and the lower part of the coat is all new. So there's actually 3 new tool pieces in that figure.
Okay, and he does glow. He won't glow quite as much as the photograph makes it look like he glows, but he does glow in the dark. It's just really hard to photograph, GID stuff because it doesn't pick up well on the camera. So Laney had to enhance that just a touch.
Just a touch. But what I did is I took a photo with my iPhone of it glowing in the dark. It looked pretty close to that, so I took a better photo with a better camera, and then Photoshop enhanced it to sort of emulate the look. So.
And he's not invisible in the middle as he appears, so
No,
not all black.
he's actually wearing a black unitard. And this is the accessory set that you can order extra to go with that figure.
And we thought this was kind of fun because the idea this time is instead of it keeping the radiation out, it keeps the radiation in. So it's a protective suit for everybody else, not him.
So he can only kill you when he wants to. Does anybody ever, let's go way back in time. There's a really old movie back from like the 30s called The Invisible Ray. Anybody? Nobody? Does anybody know who Boris Karloff is? Yeah. Okay. This is a Boris Karloff movie where he was a scientist that was looking for this radioactive material that fell from space. And when he found it, well, he became radioactive. He began to glow, he went a little nuts, he went around killing people just by touching them, and that was sort of what was in the back of my head with this figure. So it's kind of an homage to that. So he's a very sort of Adventure Team adversarial guy. I see him as the kind of guy that would go up against maybe Mike Power, Tony Man, or Bullet Man, or somebody like that.
And to follow up on the item that we did for the 2014 add-on to our cross-country, where we were able to specifically do a vehicle that was themed with that character. This year we changed it up a little bit and had an additional souvenir or add-on purchase power for the Arctic Mindbender, not necessarily something that he would ride in, but just to go on with an additional club member exclusive. We did an update of the Cobra Wave Crusher and an update of the original Cobra Sub Viper. And please realize that the tools for vehicles are very limited, and the mindset of this offering is to offer something that would not be used in a future convention set. So again, if it's a primary vehicle tool that would make sense for a future souvenir item in a convention setting, we would prefer to use that tool there. So again, anything that we offer a la carte as a club exclusive along with your membership figure is going to be something we can theme to kind of add as a bonus item, not necessarily a super revved up vehicle that would be used for the theme of a convention group.
Does anybody care about this? Yeah, they said no, so let's turn it off.
So we've been very happy with the success of our figure subscription service. So thanks to everyone, hopefully here in the room, that subscribe, and many people that are out on the internet that enjoy getting the figures in the mail on a monthly basis. So our, again, goal for the figure subscription service 4.0 would be to do the same format where you'll get 2 figures each month for 6 months, so 12 figures, and then if you complete the subscription, you will get a bonus 13th figure. And again, the concept behind the whole setting is that these are figures that would not be part of a future convention set. So these are, one-offs or pretty much holes in collections from the 80s, from the 90s, from special teams that did not get completed if they're not planned for a future convention set. And then, of course, the international characters and foreign figures that we're able to include. And
So he almost makes it sound like these are the children nobody wanted.
Well, again, realize that everything that we have to gather information-wise from the fan base has to be approved by Hasbro. So some figures will remain off limits to us. So some characters, you gotta just realize that Hasbro's not unveiled the reservation to let us do a continuation that they have planned in a future product line, and obviously we can't discuss what is off limits, but as far as we can go into the realm of the future figure subscription service, we have this lineup to offer you guys.
And let me say something about a couple things that we have seen. Yes, we've noticed that the card stock is beginning to vary, which we're not pleased with that either. And a lot of times what we see is a final sample is not what comes off the line. And so we're going to be talking to the factory about that. We too are seeing more errors now than they've ever had before. So we don't understand what's happening with their quality control. On the blister packs, what has happened on that is Hasbro had changed the material of the blister. And I believe it was PVC, and now I think it's going to PLA. And PLA is a more environmentally responsive material. And the bad part about that material is it does not adhere as well with the heat sealing machine. There's something about it that it doesn't seal as well. Now, we've not seen the issues with the last set as we did the one before, but what we're asking for the next run is to go back to PVC blisters so that they seal, like they should.
The way that actually works is, you notice on the blisters, there's really no glue. It looks just like the blister's actually bonded to the card, right? The way that works is they print the 4-color ink on it, and then the coating that goes on actually has heat-activated adhesive in it. So when the piece comes down, it actually heat sets that blister to that gloss coating that's on the card.
So if you've got really hot hands, don't put them on a card for a long time because it might stick. No.
So when they changed that blister material, it changed the way it reacted. And so you have the factors of the pressure that was applied, the heat temperature that was applied,
humidity,
the coating, and then the material of the blister. So they changed. It's like changing one ingredient of a cake and it doesn't come out the same cake.
All right.
And before we go to the lineup, I want to do one caveat. Last year there was some misinformation put out there. When we did our FSS reveal, we specified in the beginning that we were just using the original card artwork as reference, and somehow that got misconstrued on the internet that we were doing exact replicas of the items we showed off. So unfortunately this year we can't show anything. These are not done, and we can just reveal the lineup. So we'll have the full list, but we won't have any mock-ups to show off because we don't know, the final figures will be, exactly the same, and we've never specified that we can do any exact replicas of classic or foreign characters. So I just wanted to update you.
But you will see mock-ups before we start the registration period again. Okay.
We're not even quite to that point yet. So rather than show you something that's really not there, we'll wait.
You ready?
Do it. Okay, first off the list, this is a 90s character that we received many requests to do, and Hasbro went ahead and gave us the green light to do a modern era version. We will, theme and modernize him, but he will be a nice updated version of the classic Bunker Buster.
And these are in no particular order.
More or less alphabetical. So again, proving, even though every year I read that we don't listen, we do listen, just it's a matter of time. You've got to give us time to space out what we can do budget-wise with new heads or new sculpts. So finally we were able to fit this character in. For those of you who don't know, in the Marvel comic continuity, Cobra Commander did have a son. So we are doing the later version based on the fan response. So it won't be the Ninja Apprentice, it'll be more of the mercenary updated version of Billy, so it won't be a child version or anything like that. All right, next one. Okay, for the third in the random order here, we have another 90s character, and that is the Bullhorn, the intervention specialist. So we'll do an updated and modern version of this character. So we'll have some of his original accessories, and be able to offer that with his other 90s partner there.
So is that all of the B's?
Close.
Okay.
So another highly requested fan favorite character, we're going to do the Cobra Interrogator, so we can offer him as part of the figure subscription service, so we'll theme him again as an updated and modern version of the character.
We'll leave that to the customizers.
So again, fan favorite and great guest at the G.I. Joe convention, Kurt Bazigi. We'll finally have a carded figure of him in the modern era. So this is planned as a classic deco Law and Order, so it'll be the figure and the modern dog, but he'll be in the classic color pattern that the military police uniform he had in '86. So you can expect that as well. Again, we're aware we do want to limit troop builders in our FSS, but we also realize that these are key characters or key action figures that we can do nice variations of. So you don't necessarily have to troop build this, but we're doing an updated character of Inferno Bat, more of it's a version 1, so it will be just a unique variation, I'll say, and we'll have more information on that when we show you the mock-up later, probably in the club magazine or on the website. And last year we did the eclectic group of the zombie hunters, and we were able to include shebang into the ninja aspect of the survivalist and the Steel Brigade Commander as part of the Eco Force storyline. So that got another of the Ninja Force characters. So since again no plan to have any full convention sets of Ninja Force in the foreseeable future, we wanted to go ahead and offer the next popular character, and of course Nunchuck fit that bill pretty well. And to equal
swept over the crowd.
The ninja side of it on Cobra, again, doing something unique as a variation and not necessarily a requirement as a troop builder. We'll do an updated version of the Night Creeper, and we'll do him similar to his '98 Polar Ninja uniform. And again, we do listen. We're trying to fill in as many holes as we can. So we have another highly fan-requested character from the '90s, and we'll get the Jungle Assault Specialist Pathfinder into the FSS 4 lineup now. So we want to represent the UK. So there's a UK in the house. So a lot of people saw with The new head sculpt we have for Sergeant Stalker, it worked perfectly that we could do an updated version of our Jammer character. He's been requested over and over, and we have a lot of cameos in our monthly club magazine, or various missions have had this character pop up. So again, he's constantly requested, so this was a chance for us to go ahead and do a modern era version of the communications trooper for our FSS. Okay, so as you realize, we did the classic Tiger Force in this convention set. So of course we heard your request that, where's the UK guys? Where's the UK, Tiger Force guys?
Well, right there. It's only 3 of them.
We wanted to focus again on the fan feedback from the previous year, wanting more of a traditional color themed team, and that's why we stuck to the classic, black, yellow, and brown and greens in the convention set. But we do want to recognize that the UK variations of some of the figures were in the orange and blue deco, so these characters will be that version. And of course, we're working on doing one of the classic accessories that this character will carry onto the battlefield, so expect that. And of course, we can't do just one, just like a potato chip, so we're gonna go ahead and offer one of the other UK Tiger Force figures. So
They're going to move to America now.
Everybody with an Outback shirt, please stand up. Please stand up.
So yes, it will be the UK version of Outback, and he will be done, or planned to be done with a new head sculpt, so we're not using the 25th, and we're not using we're not doing the Hasbro snow job version. We've got enough snow jobs now, so he will have the classic, again, orange and blue, similar to his partner there, Sneak Peek, so they can handle any mission that those colors require. Okay. So again, that is the lineup of 12 for FSS 4.0.
Oh wait, I think we have some more.
And if that's not good enough, again, there will be a mystery bonus 13th figure. So of course, we will not announce that, and that will only be available to those that purchase that set of 12.
And I'm not sure which one is next. We're going to show we're going to at least reveal. I don't recall 3 3/4 first.
Okay, so we can get some feedback. When I count to 3, everybody scream out what figure they want us to do for this next year. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've got that one.
Okay, we're going to do an updated version of the 12-inch figure, Mike Power, the Atomic Man, which is from the Adventure Team line. This one we're going to, the original Mike Power only had 1 atomic leg and 1 atomic arm, which caused a really problem because he would really kind of like run in a circle really fast. So we're gonna do an homage to a very famous sort of cyborg that we all know from pop culture from years ago, and give him 2 atomic legs. And we're also going to dress him in the outfit that he came in the training tower, not the training tower, but in the training set that they made for Mike Power, which is really hard to come by.
But wait, there's
one more thing. You see, the original Mike Power had what's called a light pipe. Does anybody know what that is? Okay, or light pipe. Okay, so it's like an L-shaped piece of plastic that was mounted. There was a hole in his head, and then it came down inside the hollow head, and then the other end was here. So what happened is you held him under a light, the light can shine through, and you would I would kind of light up. You could touch the top of his head and it would go dark and light up, and it was supposed to look like it was flashing or something. So we're going to try to take that a step further, and we're going to actually put battery operated LED in his eye socket. And that will be activated by slightly tugging on his dog tag, just like a talking figure. So when you tug on his Adventure Team dog tag, his LED light will light up in his eyes. So he'll be the first time that's been an electronic figure.
That figure looks like it's worth $7 million.
Well, inflation, we haven't really run the inflation rate yet on that, so.
With inflation, level of inflation is probably closer to 10. I think.
Right, something like that.
So, and then what we'll offer, that'll be the free figure, and then what we'll offer will be the add-on uniform set, the Field Mission Alpha set, which will give him the jumpsuit and some other equipment that's redecoed, but it's an homage to the vintage Mike Power sets. Instead of a map, as you've seen so many times, there'll actually be a little blueprint schematic of his atomic parts, so that'll be kind of unique. So that will be the offering for 12-inch membership next year.
And 3 3/4 inch? Oh wait, sorry, there's a hand. I didn't know the slide was there.
Here's the other fun part. The original Mike Power always looked just a little too round. So a little, dare I say,
He looked a little too much like another manufacturer's
male
lead.
yes. He was a little non-rugged. So what we're doing is we're doing an all-new head sculpt that sort of conveys the look of that character, but makes him a little more chiseled.
All right, so let's see if I can get this right now. You ready?
Ready? This should be the 3. That's it.
So we are finally going to do it after much hesitation, but again, listening to your feedback, reading the surveys, reading the requests online, we're going to jump into the fray and offer the Pythona Cobra Emissary as our 2016 membership figure. We do plan some new tooling to make her, and we also plan to make 2016 the year of the female on the Real American Hero side. You saw what Hasbro was offering, they don't have any females in their lineup, so we thought, well, we can focus on getting some of the unique female characters into the club members' hands. And so again, similar to what we're doing this year, we'll do an add-on figure and vehicle, again, something that is not planned for a future convention exclusive, but as a nice bonus for club members to add later on in the year for their membership. So there you go. So we can only make this happen if you do buy the wave crusher with the survivors for us to continue. So this is the plan for 2016. It will be a figure in a vehicle as a set, and we plan to do a classic version or modern version of the Dreadnought ground assault vehicle. We'll try to mimic classic colors on that, and then we want to do the female Dreadnought. We're doing an updated modern version, not necessarily based on any of her comic book appearances. For those of you familiar, she's kind of scantily clad, but we'll do what the tooling that's available out there to make the female mechanic in a uniform, and then she will be partnered with a vehicle, and that will be later on in the year in 2016 as again a member purchase that's separate from the main free figure.
On the 12-inch side, how many 12-inch collectors are in the room? Oh, yeah, okay, great. Thanks for being here, guys. We had started the Lost Talkers. I mean, wow. Really, thank you for being here. We had started this Lost Talker series a few years ago, and we did the Talking Action Soldier and the Talking Marine, and I wonder sometimes if it didn't quite convey what Lost Talker meant. I think some people meant like they were lost because they never got reproduced. But the truth of the matter was, in the old days when these were made, in the late 60s, around 67, they only had 8 talking phrases. We found out in the archives there were actually 10 recorded by the original voice actor that were not included. So what we did with these figures is we went back because of electronics and were able to add all 10 phrases. So not only were they reproduction talkers as they had been, but they had 2 phrases that had never been heard, not new recorded phrases, but original vintage 60s recorded phrases that were lost. So therefore, lost talkers. So we're going to continue this series in 2000. Well, actually, they may hit late this year, depending on production. But we're going to do the Lost Talker Action Sailor. That's not it. The figure is an early sample as it's being worked on. The box is a finished box, just as a placeholder. And then we'll round out those 4 figures by doing the Lost Talker Action Pilot, which again will have 10 phrases rather than 8, 2 never heard before. We go in and add additional art to the insert, showing what the new phrases are. So it's kind of a nice reproduction item with a little bit of a plus to it. So even if you have this as a vintage item in your collection, you get something you didn't have before.
And then that will round out the Lost Talker series. That will be all 4.
Okay, how many people have seen this online? You want to talk about that briefly, Pete?
Well, sure, this is something we wanted to do for a while. Just the timing was never right, just depending on, where the brand is. The opportunity finally presented itself, especially with what Hasbro was doing, so we kind of went to them and said, we want to do these finally, and they said, okay, sure. So our first offering was Marissa Fairborn with Afterbreaker, and this has already been revealed, and we actually have the bike here. And these will be available starting at BotCon, but they will be available at both clubs.
We hope.
So come to BotCon in St. Charles this June, if you'd like to get it right there.
Let me just put an asterisk out there. Yes, we're hoping that these are available for BotCon if we can get the manufacturer to finish.
We will have an allotment at the show she will debut at the show, and then we will have an allotment for both clubs as well.
Yeah, we will not have them all there. We will hold them back just like a membership exclusive, okay? So there will be some available for people.
And as you know, for anyone who may not know, Marissa Fairborn is the daughter of Flint and Lady J. That was in the fiction, so the cartoon continuity, so.
Doesn't she look a little like both of them? Don't you think?
Well, less like Dad, I think.
Yes.
And this will come on a brand new blister card with new art, and it'll be completely unique to anything that's been done before. So I think it'll be pretty cool.
Now, before you go to the next slide,
Hold on one second. One thing, we're going to have this up here if you guys want to check it out. Now, you've seen this motorcycle before, but obviously this is a deco to reflect the Transformers character that it's supposed to represent. These are similar to what Hasbro has done with the Comic-Con exclusives, which used G.I. Joe vehicles interpreted as a non-transforming Transformer, and that's what this is. Now, this is not color accurate. This is a first sample. As you see up there in the mock-up, it's supposed to be sort of a champagne pale gold metallic paint. This came back, done in such a way that it allows too much of the orange substrate plastic to show through. So as a result, this looks a little bit like a dreamsicle. That's a joke.
So instead, we just renamed the motorcycle.
Yeah, we renamed it Dreamsicle.
Yeah, not really.
No, I'm kidding. So we'll have this up here so you can check it out, but just know that this color is not accurate. We've gone back to China. This will be revised, so it'll look more like what you see there. So if you see this, or see pictures of this, or anybody else says it, they say, gosh, that looks terrible. So well, that's not final.
So and before we go to the next slide, so as many of you know, if you watched both G.I. Joe and Transformers during the 80s, they pretty much had the same creative team. And one of the people behind the series was Flint Dill, who was the story editor on both shows. Flint was, of course, had the character Flint named after him, and had the idea of bringing Marissa Fairborn, who was the daughter of Flint and Lady J, over to Transformers. Of course, that's not the only thing he brought over to Transformers. There was another episode in Transformers Season 3 where a certain former leader of the terrorist organization known as Cobra, Old Snake. So Old Snake is still around, and he has, after his failed attempt during the series of Transformers, on the episode he was on Only Human, it did not work out how he wanted, so he decided to go ahead and do a couple upgraded stealth bats. These will be based on the Transformers Prime Soundwave figure. That. And they will be able to transform, and they will come in a 3-pack. So you get 2 bats and Old Snake. And that's not all we brought. We brought Old Snake and Marissa Fairborn.
So when we conclude, feel free to come up and check these guys out, take some photos.
So they will both be carded. Again, a 3-pack rolled snake and the 2-pack for Marissa and Afterbreaker. So,
Isn't that fun? Yeah.
okay.
Hey, who saw the videos we did online for promo for the con?
The video of the
Yay!
key to the city thing.
These are kind of anti. I just put these in here for
Really, that's
giggles.
it? Only 5 of you saw the key to the city? I know you all saw.
These were mock-up magazine covers that we did for the video, so that when Robert Atkins went to the doctor's office, the Cobra troopers there could be reading Cobra-centric magazines in Springfield.
And I don't think we should be showing that because we were served with papers from Mr. Kavanaugh about using his likeness. So, no, I'm kidding. It was either that or the bullet man outfit we had.
I'm glad we went to the next slide, because if you look closely at that, you can see there was a wardrobe malfunction. So this is the other one that we did. I'm just showing this just for fun in case you missed it online. And then the last thing is just also, this was the photo that the photo op seen around the world. This really was something, the photo was taken by the mayor's office when they did the fun, just for fun, passing of the key to the city to Cobra Commander to promote the show. The top picture was the picture they took, and the bottom picture was the Photoshop edit that was done at our office before it went back out to everybody else. And that's what everybody saw, and it was on all 3 news stations in Chicago, and it was on MTV's website, and all over the place. So it was just crazy. You never know how those things are going to go, but everybody really latched onto it. I think I even heard it was on Kevin Smith's podcast. They were going off about what the heck is this about, but they didn't say heck.
It's not safe for work language, but still fine.
And that is the end of our presentation.
Brad, you want to take the mic? We'll do pictures in a minute, but if you'll hold up your hands, we'll get some questions going. We still have some time.
Maybe I got a couple, 2 or 3